mass layoffs as we enter the final 3 months of the year 2025. It seems like mass layoffs and people losing their jobs are just increasing all the time now. Like every few weeks there's another company just like laying off 1,000, 10,000, how many thousands of people. And here we have Business Insider. The list of major companies laying off staff this year includes Oracle, Kroger, Nike, Scale, and more. So these are a lot in the IT industry, but other normal companies like John Deere and so on, they are also starting to cut their jobs. Layoffs and other workforce reductions have continued in 2025, following 2 years of significant job cuts already in technology, media, finance, manufacturing, retail, and energy sectors. It's just happening, everybody. AI is just coming at a tremendous speed. Now you can see how they develop Grok 4, Grok 5 from X. This is not going to stop. This is not going to stop. Currently, there's like 134,000. Where's that one? 134,000. The IT jobs most vulnerable to layoffs in 2025. This was written at the end of August 2025. And David says here, I said the tech industry workforce crisis, 139,000 layoffs so far in 2025, projected to reach 243,000. That's another 100,000 people by the end of the year. Another 100,000. And it seems like companies wait until the end of the year just to, oh, here's a nice Christmas gift for you. Take your shit and go. Let's see some people on TikTok explaining some of these things to us.
News for everybody, but this is very, very serious, and we cannot trust the Trump administration's reports or data. Sorry, Caroline. Far from it. Here's what's going on with company layoffs and the economy. We already know American Axle is suing the Trump administration. They're an auto parts manufacturer because they say the tariffs are putting them out of business and they're getting ready to lay off a bunch of people. We already know that Ford and GM's profits were completely wiped out the second quarter because of tariffs. P&G will be cutting 7,000 white-collar jobs. When I go through the list of companies that are laying off, they all attribute it to decreased global sales and sales within the United States because of economic uncertainty due to the tariffs.
And profits, just add in there, and profits that they want to show to their stakeholders. Let's not forget the profits. The easiest way to save money is by cutting your staff. Let's not joke with each other on that one.
And the increase in prices because they're producing parts that they have to charge more for, so people are buying less, all again thanks to tariffs. And also a lot of these jobs are being replaced by AI.
Yes.
And I want you to remember that this big, beautiful bill. I wish I had good news for everybody.
I would venture as far as to say that AI is bigger. It's bigger. Once a company employs a robot to do the job of 100 people, they are not going to go back.
People being laid off right before the holidays. You will never be able to convince me that these organizations don't know exactly what they're doing by waiting until the end of the year to fire people with no regard on how it'll affect them, with no regard the financial burden that'll come to them and their families. They know exactly what they're doing. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on in those meetings, if they're saying it's performance based, or we're so sorry, we never saw this coming. We know the timing is not ideal, it's out of our hands. Bullshit. Okay, let me tell you the top 4 reasons why these companies will continue.
Those CEOs and that C-suite people and the top managers and the shareholders, the incentives that they get for producing profits, they couldn't give a shit about Tom, Dick and Harry working on the production line. If you really believe that, you are fucking delusional.
Continue to do mass layoffs right before the holidays, right before the end of the year, and it will piss you off, okay, if you're not pissed off already. Number 1, shocker, cost cutting for year-end financials. A lot of companies will aim to reduce expenses right before the end of the year so that they can meet or exceed their financial metrics. And the quickest way to do that is through layoffs, okay? Nothing is more expensive than the workforce. So layoffs are a good way in the eyes of these companies to boost profitability and limit losses right before they send out year-end reports. They will much rather look good in the eyes of the stakeholders than do good by the employees that have dedicated parts of their lives to that company. It's really sad. Number 2, tax and accounting advantages. I told you it'll piss you off. So if a company does layoffs before the end of the fiscal year, it will allow them to classify severance packages and restructuring costs as tax write-offs.
Tax write-offs. Tax write-offs. You are seen as a tax write-off. They couldn't care less whether you've worked for their company for 25 years. As long as you are a tax write-off next year.
Improving their financial standing for next year. Economic uncertainty and market conditions is another reason why companies would perform mass layoffs at the end of the year. There's a lot of insider information that is being shared at the top of these organizations with these shareholders. Do you guys remember in 2019 when a lot of these CEOs were stepping down from their position right before the pandemic? Also, given the most recent presidential election, it does not take a rocket scientist to know that the economy is going to change. So a lot of these organizations are anticipating higher operational costs, leading them to preemptively reduce.
So that she's talking about tariffs, right? Tariffs and inflation. Both those things also eat into the price of, or into your profitability.
Workforce expensive. And number 4, a shift in strategic priorities. A lot of companies will use Q4 to assess different departments and projects. And if they decide that they have different future priorities, then they can easily cut, resources that are no longer serving, the direction that they want to go in. I truly feel like the way organizations conduct mass layoffs is a reflection of the core essence of how they operate as a business. A lot of companies, particularly in the tech industry, have piss poor practices when it comes to layoffs. It is clear that they will always choose finances and the bottom line over employees. And I feel like that needs to be clocked. Okay, so consider it clocked.
But I mean, that's just how the capital world works, right? I mean, you can't really change that. For me, it's just ridiculous that a CEO, his year-end bonus is like 400 times the amount of what a normal low-level employee earns, right? And then another thing is, these companies, just before the end of the year, they start getting rid of the managers, so that next year we can have a new hiring season and we can show the headlines, we are hiring people. But what they're not saying is they've let you go at $300 an hour or whatever as a middle manager, and now they hire new employees in the next year $20, $30, $40 an hour.
And the chickens have come home to roost. John Deere just reported a $300 million quarterly loss and announced mass layoffs directly because of tariffs. And you don't have to take my word for it. The director of investor relations came out and said it himself. He said that this is directly because of increased tariff costs on steel and aluminum coming in from Europe and India. Now, what makes this so interesting is that John Deere is a symbol for the United States, for the American farm industry, and a lot of their products are made in the USA. The problem is just because something is made in the USA doesn't mean that every single part is made in the USA. Usually what it means is that it's assembled in the USA, but it still uses parts from abroad. So we will have to see how this affects future quarters for this company as well as many other made in America companies. But right now you are seeing John Deere with a $300 million quarterly, not yearly, quarterly loss and announcing mass layoffs. I will keep you updated as best as I can when it comes to this, as well as everything else that you need to know if you like personal finance, world economics, politics, and break.
$300 million per quarter. What is it? 369. That's $1.2 billion that they want to save on a yearly basis. And who is going to suffer? The normal person. And they are going to blame it. They're going to say, yes, tariffs, inflation, AI. And the normal person can just, what can we do? What does that guy that's now 45, 50 years old, worked at John Deere for the past 20 years, not ready to retire, but also too old to really start something new? What is he supposed to do? But John Deere wants to save costs so that the shareholders can be happy and that the CEOs can get a $10, $20, $50 million bonus for the year.
These corporate layoffs are getting out of hand. Microsoft just laid off, like 9,000 employees? And I need to do some more research on why that is or what they're investing in. I imagine it's probably more data centers for AI, whatever the case may be. But overall, we're seeing layoffs in various industries. And if I'm being honest, I think companies are starting to go back to a more performance-based work culture. It's simple. If you're not hitting your numbers, you're probably going to get
Yeah, performance-based, sure, if you're not hitting your numbers. But now also, they are going to, one person needs to do the job of 4 different people.
Especially with implementations of AI. If you're not doing the work that you should be doing and hitting your numbers and somebody else is exceeding expectations just by utilizing AI or other tools, then it doesn't make sense for the company to keep you. Now, let's be clear. I'm not saying that this is for all layoffs that are happening. But from what I've seen and from talking to my colleagues, they have experienced the same thing and have seen people who tell them the reasons why they got laid off.
Sure. So if you're not hitting your numbers, or your friend is more AI advanced than you need to start looking for a new job. And it's coming all sectors. John Deere is tractors, farm equipment. So it's not just IT.
Well, you knew it was only a matter of time before one of the big corporates tried to figure out how they could lay off a bunch of people, mass layoffs without severance. And it appears Meta's going to be the one that tests this. They announced layoffs of up to 5% of their workforce. I think that's close to 4,000 employees. and they're using performance reviews in order to decide who they're letting go. Now, there's mixed signals, so if you're in Meta and you've got one of these severance packages, let me know, but I heard it's going to be minimal compared to what a traditional layoff package is. So maybe they're trying to skirt around the legal issue. Again, this just brings it into call, are they phantom pips? Are these folks at a performance review after 20 years without any issues? They got one performance review and now they've been terminated. To me, this sounds like a way to turn over the folks they want out of the organization subjectively. You know, could it be age related? Could it be cost related? I would bet almost everything I have that it's going to be cost related. Well, you knew it was only a matter.
Yeah, cost related, age related. The older person with more experience, they need to pay him more or her more. I mean, it's just common sense. Middle manager is going to earn more per hour or per week or whatever than the junior guy. So get rid of 4 middle managers, keep 1 left, number 5, and then employ 4 new younger guys under them. It's a matter of time, like he says. And it's not just the US. There's one from Canada as well. You find them in Japan as well, Toyota. You find them in China as well. I won't be surprised if Alibaba has like massive layoffs. This is from Canada.
Mass layoffs are hitting every corner of Canada. TD Bank, 2,000 jobs gone. Amazon, 1,700 jobs gone, plus a full Quebec exit. Stellantis, 4,600 jobs gone. Bell Media, 4,800 jobs gone. Hudson's Bay, 9,000 jobs gone. Jobs are disappearing. Recession incoming. Ottawa's silence is deafening.
Recession incoming. Recession incoming. Guys, you need to start to prepare for the recession that's incoming. Go out, buy tin food. Buy bags of vacuum-packed rice, beans. Fuck the Starbucks lattes. So it's happening. It's happening all around us. If it has not happened to you yet, I'm sure you know of somebody in your local community. People just losing their jobs, especially at the end of the year now, going into December. So if you have a job and your manager gives you a little bit of shit or whatever, just be happy that, or know that there are people that are not as fortunate as you to still have a job to go to. So we are going to start looking at some of these layoffs in the next series. Alright guys, this is shocking. It's just coming every year. In any case, if you want to follow along, cool, hit the like. Don't hit the like, subscribe, don't subscribe. Have a wonderful one. Stay safe. Stay safe. Keep your job safe. Bye bye YouTube.